If you play Atomic Crops and don't have an opinion on which weapon is the best, that's a red flag. Like, do you even have feelings, or have you always been a psychopath? But seriously, I've read too many Reddit posts on people disagreeing about which weapon is the best, and it's my turn to weigh in. This is my ranking of all Atomic Crop weapons, minus the DLC Scythe and Leech Gun because I never bought the DLC. Anyway, let's go. Number 12. Blunderbloom. Whoever invented this weapon definitely made a blunder. Let's see, slow bullets, small clip size, constantly aggros every camp in a 100-mile radius. Yup, bad. Blunder just feels sluggish and frustrating, and I don't want to deal with it. Positive, gun design looks pretty good. Yeah, that's it, let's move on. Number 11. Jackrabbit 12. In my first ever playthrough of Atomic Crops, I bought the Jackrabbit, and no joke, it almost made me quit then and there. I despise weapons in any game where you have to rapidly click in order to fire. I always end up mashing too hard, which makes me nervous I'll injure my hands, so I avoid these weapons like the plague. If you see footage of me using it, that means I'm putting my life on the line for your pleasure. Honestly, even if it wasn't a rapid press gun, it would be better, but not my favorite. Has okay range, but no interesting upgrades. Like, Ricochet? Why would I even use this weapon when there's a grenade launcher or a flamethrower that I could use instead? It's not horrendous, just feels outclassed in every way. Number 10. Pea Shooter. I'm sure some people are surprised that the Pea Shooter, the free starter weapon, isn't last, but at least it doesn't make me actively want to stop playing. Especially with home improvements, it's just a weak spud rifle. Obviously nothing to write home about, but solid enough to get you through the first day. Number 9. Parsniper. Parsniper has the obvious weakness of not being able to deal with hordes at all. Flies take an hour, bats are kryptonite, this weapon can't even defend your crops properly. However, it does absolutely cook in the desert and tundra. I absolutely hate snowmen, but I can just snipe them from a safe distance and be on my merry way. To be honest, I never pick this weapon unless I'm trying to get rid of the Pea Shooter. It's niche and fun to play with, but not useful. Number 8. Shallot Gun. Shallot Gun is the risk versus reward gun of Atomic Crops. Forces you to get into dangerous situations, but deals massive damage up close. However, I don't think the reward is high enough. Putting yourself so close gives you no space to maneuver, so when things get hectic, you feel trapped. It also has quite a small clip size. Generally, it's fine in the early stages, as things are simple and it can shred monster pod and worm. But you don't want to be bringing this late game, even with upgrades. It just forces you into impossible scenarios where you are bound to lose hearts. One thing I will add is that it does stack unfairly well with fighting stat, allowing it to do the most damage in the entire game. Number 7. Catling Gun. Catling Gun absolutely slays when things are simple. For me, this was my years 1 to 5 most used weapon. I chose it whether there were upgrades or not. With absurd damage and wild fire rate, this cuts down enemies like a lawnmower cuts grass. So then you're probably wondering, so why 7th then? And it's simple. When you're shooting, you move at half your normal speed. This is fine in lower years because things are slow and easy to avoid. But when you're playing year 10 Robusta, either you're gonna move fast or you're gonna die. Overall, great at the start, but way too severe of a drawback to be played later on. Before we get to the top half, let's give out some awards for some other categories. Best Weapon Description, Sriracha Soaker, be careful. Best Named Weapon, Parsniper. Also, can we just acknowledge that all the base game weapons have cool names, but the DLC weapons are Scythe and Leech Gun? Yeah, see? That's why I didn't have the DLC, because their names were bad. Best Looking Gun, Catling Gun. It's just a regular machine gun, but it's got a cute little tail and horns. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get on to the top half. Number 6. Rusty SMG. Rusty is my pick if I just want something simple and reliable. With widespread, you really can just spray and pray. It does have a short range, but I think it's much better than Shallot Gun because of its infinite ammo. It isn't abundantly powerful, so I can't put it any higher, With max upgrades, the range and accuracy buffs make it more satisfying than Minecraft sand being destroyed by a torch. I want you to pretend you're one of those bunnies. You've just set up your camp with your sister and your friend. You're exhausted, not just from the day, but from being away from your home, from your little brother who you'd pick up by the waist and spin around in the air. You remember their laugh, like a summer's warm breeze. Then you get nuked. That's right, it's biodegrader time. This weapon is perfect for finishing off camp. Just roll a few grenades in, and those rabbits will never see their family again. Because of its massive spread, it's also great when there's swarms of enemies, or against the Spore You Know and Undertaker. Triple Shot is easily its best upgrade, allowing it to do everything already mentioned, but with 3 times the firepower. The only downside is the lower damage, but it's not the biggest issue when you can send missiles. Number 4. Butcher's Knife. The base weapon of Butcher's Knife is fine, better than Pea Shooter, but with its awkward firing trajectory, most weapons ranked below it are more consistent. However, the fact that it can occasionally drop fertilizer brings it up the ranks. Additional fertilizer, especially early game, is buckets of extra money. And with the increased drop rate upgrade, additional fertilizer drops almost every time. You can even remove the awkward trajectory with the dual wield upgrade. This decent blade that also acts as a fertilizer factory sits comfortably at number 4. Now we've made it to the podium. From my very non-scientific research, I've concluded that all these weapons are regarded as top tier. But which one will be crowned as number 1? Well, not Flying Squirrels, as it takes the number 3 spot. Flying Squirrels was going to be my number 1. With the increased drop rate upgrade, you can get every seed just by sitting at your farm. It even drops roses and heartbeats. It's more effective than exploring. Online, tons of people argue it should be at the top. However, without upgrades, it's a lot worse. The weapon itself is better than a pea shooter, but doesn't feel good to play with. You can store all your squirrels and try to release them at once, but it takes a while to reload, so I find myself frustrated even when clearing simple camps. Of course, it still has seed drops without the increased drop rate upgrade, which is why I can justify putting it this high. So, if you have mods, undisputed best. But no mods? Well, it's not the worst. Number 2. Sriracha Soaker. Of all the base weapons, this is my favorite. This flamethrower has a wide spread, helping you almost always hit your shots. And not only does it do good damage, they keep taking damage after being lit on fire. I find I can wipe out camps no problem. And the fire damage is incredibly useful for bosses, who only expose themselves for a few seconds. It can burn your crops, but it's easy to avoid, and while clip size isn't great, the raw power makes up for it. Certainly my pick for best base weapon, but it's got crazy upgrades. It's got faster reload and more range and stuff like that, but if you're lucky, you'll get water crops. Yeah, you never need the well again, because with one spray, the soaker can water your whole field. Better yet, it can put out fire, which is especially helpful against Corpsicopia, who will try to set your field ablaze. What can I say, just a solid pick, with upgrades or not. And number 1, Spud Rifle. At the top we have Spud Rifle. Yeah, it just feels good. It's fast and direct, packing a firm punch. What puts it over the top are its upgrades. Homing does exactly what it says it will, and having aimbot in a shooter game, surprise surprise, is overpowered. Honestly, other than Squirrel, I would take Homing Spud over any fully upgraded weapon. That's how important aim is. It can even get the upgrade Fertilizer drop, allowing it to occasionally drop fertilizer, just like Butcher Knife. This is the most well-rounded and consistent weapon in the entire game, and also just so happens to have some crazy upgrades. So that's my ranking of all the base weapons in Atomic Crops. The variety of weapons is what makes every run diverse. I love strategizing about what weapon I'll buy and how it will work with my items and animals. Honestly, if we could just choose what weapon to take into every run and what upgrades we got, that would take away from a lot of the fun. That's all I have to say on the topic, so please leave your rankings and opinions in the comments below, and have a good one.